What's up everybody, welcome back to the Burnout Bobby YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm just giving you an update on the Nardo bike. A lot of you have been asking what's going on. There's been a pause in content. Well, I'm waiting on parts. That's essentially the biggest thing. There's some custom things being made for this, and with that it takes time, especially if you want it done right. So that's the biggest holdup right now with Nardo. I also want to say thank you to everybody that reached out to me during this hurricane, with Hurricane Ian coming around and hitting the Gulf of Florida here, or the west coast of Florida, I'll say. Luckily it didn't affect us much, but again, thank you so much for everybody reaching out. Make sure my family and I are safe. Unfortunately, people southwest Florida, they got hit really hard. Fort Myers, Naples, all in that part of the coast there. So sending prayers to them. Hopefully, if you have friends or loved ones, or if you lived out there, sending prayers your way. I'm wishing for a quick recovery for you guys and everything. And I do know a couple of people that had houses out that way, like I believe it's Port Charlotte area and stuff. So again, hoping the best for you guys, hoping for a quick recovery. I guess I'll just go ahead and show you guys a update on the Ruckus so I can explain it from front to back. As you guys know, I went with the super mesh wheels. I'm going to lower these forks down probably about an inch or so to bring the gap here down, and it's gonna balance out the bike well. You guys saw the wiring in the last video. Not much to explain there. Beyond clean for that, so I'm happy with that setup. Have the tank on. I am going to end up using this tank. I'm just going to get a frame splitter and put that there. I have it paint matched, so I'm going to send that out to get painted. The gas cap, I went with the password cap. What I'm going to do is trim out here. You can see I kind of drew it out so that this drops down. It's a little bit more flush in there. Side steps are done. I have the painted covers that I got from Japan there. Of course, the Yoshimura 2022 Grom muffler with the over-the-head header from the Ruck Shop. So you could actually piece this, if you like this exhaust, you could technically piece it together from buying just a slip-on for the 2022 Grom and then buying that header individually. Have the 12x8 super mesh rear wheel with the brushed aluminum finish. I love that. Shaved and bobbed the frame. Carbon end cap. You've seen cheeky seats. Killed it with the Burnout Bobby seat. Right now, as you can see, the bike's sitting super low. I have it just propped up on there with the motor, and that's because I don't have a shock arm on there. So one thing I'm doing is, I'm not a big fan of like the steel mounts or the steel shock arms, because with that, they can bend, they can warp. I know a lot of you have seen that, and I've seen it on the pages that you've talked about that. So with that, I'm making a billet shock arm that's going to go just like the one that the Ruck Shop sells normally. This is what the original billet shock arm looks like. We'll be getting rid of that and have designed a new one that's going to put my shock up right here, because typically with the other one the shock was about right there, and I just didn't like the angle and position of the shock and the stress that it may put on the case. So with that, it's going to be positioned up here, so the shock arm is going to come out just like the old one and then come upward, and I'm going to make that out of CNC 6061 billet. So that's taking a little bit of time there. The other thing I'm waiting on is I'm doing rear sets with a rear foot brake for the left side. I'm going to run a cable to the back, so that's going to be clean. That's all going to be on the other side, which leaves your primary side here where everybody looks on, because the exhaust, the dish of the wheels, that's going to leave this all open. For the fuel line and vacuum, I went ahead and drilled and tapped a different hole in the frame so that the fuel pump can run like this with the TRS fuel pump bracket. And then what I've been playing around with, I've never worked with stainless pipe, I guess you could say. So I'm playing around with the bender and coming up with options. I'm going to run just a little bit of rubber fuel line. This is a little too much right now, but I'm just, like I said, playing around with stuff. This is all trial and error. And running a little bit of fuel on here because the motor does pivot and move. So if I did a full stainless braided line or hard line, then I'd be afraid of movement and causing it to crack. So I'm thinking about doing something like that and then running the top vacuum line the same way. A little bit of rubber off that and then to the stainless hose here, and then running that up to the carb, and then just having a little bit of rubber hose line right there to allow for the plane movement. And then I have these clips that are used on the KTM Duke. These clips I'm going to have clamped like this around it, and it's going to keep the two lines close together and look really clean. I'm thinking about paint matching these lines to the color of the frame so they kind of disappear in there and you don't really see them. And what else? For the handlebars, the other thing I'm waiting on is the master cylinder. It actually just arrived last week, right before the hurricane hit. So with that, I have one special banjo for it that's on back order. So once that comes off of back order, then I will put that on. And the brake line I'm using is smaller than this throttle cable. It is super small. So I wish I had it here. I could show you guys. It's gonna look insane. So literally my handlebars are just gonna have this throttle cable and then the super thin brake line, because for the brake switches, I'm not having it on the actual master cylinder like they normally are. It's going into a pump fed switch, which goes to the caliper on the other side here. So it's just going to be super clean. Also, so for the side of the bike, you can see I did the TRS ankle biter setup with the TRS performance transmission kit. It comes with this clutch bell. I think I'm going to get a different one. I think we have like a 9-spoke one. I'm going to get that and powder coat it black. But for right now, I'm going to keep the one that came with the kit. Powder coated the NCY drive face. Did each one of the spacers gloss black just to give it a little bit of contrast. Have the TRS starter cover on there, keep it nice and clean. Basically, that's all I have for this side. I have a different shock bottom here. I was grinding away, trying different parts with it to make it fit. This is the taillight bracket I'm using. Made it fit, so I'm going to go through, flatten this out a little bit, but I actually made it work where it's going to button up underneath here, and then the light's going to go clean underneath. That took a little bit of time and it was kind of a pain. The light I'm using is the Radiance smoked taillight. So this has the blinkers, stoplight and running light all in one. And it's a flex light, so I can use it for that mount pretty good. I'll put that on there. Kind of matches with the theme with the smoked housing. So again, that should be clean. The wiring's gonna be very simple. I have it going right there. So all in all, that's where the bike's at now. Again, I'm sorry for the delay. It's just I've had no parts come in, so I haven't been able to really do anything with it until I get the stuff done. And once even the shock arm's done and made, I'll test fit it and then send it to powder coat. If any of y'all are looking for the billet shock arm in black, the regular one for the fatty mount, I've never used it. It's powder coated gloss black. You can just shoot me a DM if you want to get that off me there. I will give you guys a little heads up. If you were on my live feed, I showed it, so I'll show you guys this as well. So since I am no longer doing Ruckus builds anymore, I want to keep content going for a channel. I've always been a big fan of these bikes, and as you've seen, like my last frame for this bike was just rusted and beat up, and I've had people message me like, you really think you're gonna turn that around? Of course, it's easy. It's not, for me it's fun. It's a challenge. I've always liked the Honda Sprees. I've been a big fan. They're just tiny, they're light, they're super light. The frame doesn't weigh anything. And it's just cool because it's 86. That's when I was born. So, you know, the bike's 36 years old. And I always wanted to get one of these, make it look super clean, and then put a big motor in it because they come with a little, I think it's like 2-stroke 50 cc's. So I found one that didn't have a motor in it. It was completely stripped down and tons of pieces, and got it for a great deal. Came with 2 sets of black plastics. I have an adapter to run the Ruckus triple tree to it, and this will allow me to run disc brakes with a bit like probably like an NCY wheel. I'll probably do like one of the NCY 10-inch wheels, like the Hustler wheel on it. But here it is. Now again, don't judge me. You've seen what I can pull out from Rust. This thing looks like a pile of junk right now, but I promise you it's gonna be sick. Alright, here's my 86 Spree. That's the factory triple tree. I'm not using that. The fender I'm gonna try to make work. All the stuff is gonna get sanded down, primered, repainted, but this is it. My wife looked at it and she goes, what did you even get? This pile of rust. But I already see the vision. Like, I'm like, this is gonna be sick. I got some skinny wheels already for it, actually, now that I think about it. Felix had a set that he's gonna sell me. The seat I'm gonna shave down, take it down a layer, and then reupholster it. That's gonna be super clean. I have the 150cc motor. It's already painted black. And then I have the standard Gy6 mount, and this is the mount that comes off of your Ventos and stuff like that. So I'm going to incorporate that into the build. I'm going to put this on the bike and then weld this to the Spree frame, and then come up with my own shock mount. I'm also going to reinforce the bike as well. So I'll put a cross brace from here to the front triple tree post just to keep the structure, because when I tell you this frame probably weighs, I don't know, 25 pounds, and then with the plastics on it maybe 30 pounds. This bike weighs nothing. The motor is probably twice what the bike weighs. So that's gonna be the next project after that. I think I'm gonna paint this whole thing like gloss white with like bronze wheels. That's the vibe I'm feeling for this one. And then do the seat will have a little bit of contrast on it. That's what I'm thinking for this bike. That will be the next project for the channel. So if you're interested in something like that, it's kind of mixing like a little bit of old school with, I don't want to say Gy6 is new school because it's not, but doing something that I've only seen done a few times. So should come out good. Once I'm done with that, I will probably end up registering it, do a couple videos with it, and then sell it, and then use the money from selling this bike, buy another one, and just keep doing that. So instead of doing builds, I'm going to build these bikes for myself and then just sell them on Marketplace. And if somebody wants it, they can always DM me, and then we'll work on that. The Duke has some things coming for that too pretty soon. So for the KTM guys that are on the page, that will be getting a few more upgrades as well. So more to come there. Let me know what you guys think about the bike so far. If you're liking it, what do you think I should do? My biggest debate right now is, do I make this exhaust black? Do I Cerakote the exhaust and header black? Because this is brushed aluminum, the wheels are brushed aluminum. This is kind of like just a weird gray, but it doesn't match the header, so it's two different colors there. Do I try to find a gray that's similar to that, which is very hard to do because this needs to be an aerosol Cerakote, or do I just do a black because I know it will all match up, and then it'll just be black, carbon, carbon, then of course leave the badge out. Love this part, small bore life. Let me know what you think. Comment below. I also got a new helmet to match this bike. It's the Icon Air Flight. This thing's sick. It's hard to see in the video, but this is also brushed aluminum, so it matches the wheels. It's gonna be super clean when I'm going down the road. My old helmet that I had for the KTM, and then the Bitwell, they're both getting old. One of them, the orange helmet that matched the Duke, that one It's kind of a cheap helmet, so I'm getting away from that. Sorry for the short video. I hope you guys like this. Be sure to, again, like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one.